Good afternoon and hello, everyone. My name is Rich Lund of Flycast Partners, and I'll be your host. I would like to thank you for joining us for tips for getting help with Ivanti, presented by Flycast Partners' very own Kyle Hamilton. Now, Kyle Hamilton is a senior SE here at Flycast and been with us for a number of years now. He's been instrumental in assisting a huge number of our customers with lots of different types of solutions, whether that be IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, and everything in between, using ITIL best practice. And Kyle has more certifications and certificates and training than I can probably even think of. He has been around for over 30 years or pretty close to it. So we're very happy to have Kyle talk to us about this topic today because he has a lot of experience with it. Before we get started, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, IT security, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces using ITIL best practice. Our professional services team has well over 5,700 professional services engagements, both on site and remote. As a company, Flycast Partners has close to 1,300 regular customers throughout all of Canada and the United States. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or you can chat with us live Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. They're happy to talk to you about training or anything about IT or data sheets, white papers, remote administration services, regular services, whatever you want to chat about. Trials, we offer those as well for many tools. We encourage you to email us also at info@flycastpartners.com. During today's presentation, Kyle will take your questions live as time permits. So please type those questions in the questions section provided in this GoToWebinar platform, and I'll read those off for Kyle, and he'll answer as many as time will allow today. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this control over to Kyle. Kyle, it is all yours, sir. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Rich. I'd like to welcome everybody this afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend. We're going to keep this one relatively light as opposed to some of them that dive into more technical aspects and talk a little bit about how you can get help in the most expedient and best way when you have those technical questions. Let me start off by maybe stating the most obvious, just being here today. As Rich said, we're happy to take questions. So if you have questions about an Ivanti product or solution or a need, and you're trying to determine if there is a product, please feel free to ask those questions here, and we'll try and answer what we can. For those things that we can't resolve here, we have the resources and the technical capability to hook you up and get the answers they need as a follow-up.
Kyle, let's go ahead and ask them a question first. Let's throw a question at them. I'm going to ask them, how many of you guys have ever used Ivanti support? We're going to launch that out there. Go ahead and answer for us. So we'll ask you a question. Now you get to ask us some questions afterwards. Wow, we have a lot of folks that have not yet. We've got almost half the audience voting. We'll go about another minute, folks. We'll give everybody a chance to answer. Oh, it's starting to split a little bit. Got almost 3/4 of the audience having voted. This is good. We'll go I'd say another 45 seconds or so. Give everybody an opportunity to vote. Okay, and we are almost there. 15, about 20 more seconds, folks. Wow, almost the entire audience has voted. We're almost there. Interesting results. All right, and I'm going to close out the poll, and we've got most of the audience has voted, which I'm happy to see. That's good stuff. We're going to close the poll out, and let's take a look at what these results look like. We are sitting at 67% of you who have said you have not used Ivanti support, and 33% said you had used Ivanti support. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it right back over to you, Kyle.
Okay, thanks, Rich, and thank you all for responding. In a lot of ways, that's good. I mean, the results, reflect the fact that 67% of you hopefully haven't had a need for support, and that's a good thing. But I'm sure that even if it's not related to a problem that you're having, that many of you may have technical type how-to questions. It's not that anything's broken. It's not a support ticket, but you need some information, or you'd like to be able to know where you can get to the resources you need to find out how to do whatever it is you're looking to accomplish. So a lot of what I'm going to cover is showing you some of those tips and tricks beyond just support, where you can go to find some of those answers. I mentioned first and foremost, being attendance here today, where we can help answer some of those questions you may have. But of course, as we get off the call today, questions arise. The next most logical, point of contact is going to be that Ivanti support portal. Now, for those that have never, reached out to Ivanti before, let me even back up here a little bit, and I'll just start off here. So they made it very easy, where you can just open up a browser and go to help.ivanti.com. That's going to be your main primary starting point. And that from here, you can, then click links to get into all kinds of other resources. But the easiest way to remember, if you're looking for any kind of assistance, is go to help.ivanti.com or help.ivanti.com. The main landing page is going to be your product docs for all the Ivanti products. Now you can search for those, or if you know exactly what you're looking for, if you're dealing with endpoint manager or service manager, you can easily just click directly on here. And this is where you're going to find the most up-to-date versions of the documentation. Now I will say, for the majority of the Ivanti products, documentation, even within the product, is linking you back here. Right? So everything's typically in an online or wiki format, as opposed to hard PDF copies of docs that ship with products, so that they can keep those things updated. But I always like to come to the Help Ivanti site just to be sure that I'm always looking at the latest version of those docs. So by coming here, and you can see they do a great job of versioning these. You can find, it'll point you back to previous versions. If you're dealing with an older version of a piece of Ivanti software, you can work your way backwards. But this is your best site in terms of finding the latest and greatest. It's also a great way just to get a quick answer as to whether are you on the latest version. That's a common question is, what is the latest? What are the latest features and enhancements and things of that nature? So just by coming to the help site and the documentation site, they're always going to present the latest version of the product docs first. So if you log in and you can see that, right now we're at 2021.1 and you're on 2020.2, or you're on something prior to that, immediately, without looking any further, that there's a few upgrades that you have coming to you. So this is always the first place I would check, not only to find out, the latest product documentation and how-tos, but there's also some great links within the documentation. See here that the second one, the first one is really your guide, right? These are your user guides, your admin guides, and things of that nature. How do I set up approval processes, or how do I set up patch distributions, and how do I do this and that? So this is, a quick way to get into the docs and then be able to search on that. So if, you're looking up or wanting to find information on patch management, And you can see immediately it goes to the docs. It shows me how do I uninstall patches, how do I automate patches, how do I get it set up, and things of that nature, agent settings, etc. So this kind of help is available for all of the Ivanti products off of that help page. So I'd always recommend going there first. In terms of learning what's new, this is, again, your best way to find out, is it worthwhile to do that upgrade? Do we want to upgrade? Is there something in here that we've been waiting for, that we've requested, and it's finally here? This is where you can also get that information. You can see, again, it works its way back, right, through the versions. But this gives me the opportunity to look at all of those updates and enhancements that have been made in that latest version. So I can look through here quickly and find out, they've added new patch APIs, they've updated, to support the latest version of SQL, and they've added this and that. So this is a great way not only to find, how to help, but also to find out about what's upcoming, what's out, and is there something in that release that we're interested in? We want to, go ahead and get it applied. Now, in contrast to the READMEs on, what's the latest and greatest, something else that you might want to look into is information related to your product itself. So, of course, you look at the download, you see, hey, 2021.1 is out. How do I get it? Well, if you're logged into the help site, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. I'm already logged in here. So, of course, as an Ivanti customer, you'll have a login ID and a password that'll be provided. It's going to give you access to all the same content. Now, you can get to the documentation sites, that help.ivanti.com site. No login required, right? You just hit that URL and you can start browsing docs all day long. Now, when it comes to the downloads, of course, this is going to be authenticated. So before you can access, downloads and whatnot, you will have to, create an account if you don't have one already, and log in to be able to access these. Because of course that login is going to determine what downloads you have access to, whether that's Ivanti Service Management or their security controls or Identity Director or License Optimizer, etc. You'll notice there are several different, there are some different divisions within Ivanti. You see the Ivanti, kind of what we call Ivanti historical products. You've got Wavelength, which is on your more on the ERP side. Then you've got the Nowtech product downloads. Each one of these has a link down at the bottom. So whatever your login and your license agreement entitles you to, those products will all be listed here. Now, even if you're not licensed for some of these products, keep in mind that if you're looking to trial some of these products, that this is also a way to be able to get in a trial. So you might not be able to download a licensed copy, or you might not have a license to be able to unlock it, but you can still come here and download products for which you haven't yet purchased a license for. Maybe you want to install it, try it out, see if it works, and look into licensing. So you can see within each section here, whether you're dealing with service management or asset management, I can click on a product name and it'll take me to the download page so that I can grab that latest version, right? It'll show me, again, all the previous versions. So again, if I'm back here at 2015, and this is something you'll want to look into the documentation for, because in many cases, you might not be able to jump from 2015.2.2 all the way up to 2020.4. So you need to make sure and look at that documentation to make sure that you don't need to apply 2017 or 2019 before you can make that big leap, right? You might not necessarily be able to jump 18 different versions ahead without applying some of those supplemental upgrades in between. But that way, once you find the version you're looking for, you can easily download that right here through the portal, as long as your license entitles you to it. You can see there's different sites depending upon your location, just to get the closest download location to you. And then of course you can click on that, and it'll immediately start to download, that product update. Just below, for each release, you're also going to have additional links where you can see the release. It'll take you back to the release notes for that release that you're downloading. So if you need to refresh your memory, why am I doing this? Take you back and let you look at, what you're actually downloading, as well as the install and deployment guide. So how do we roll this out? What is the update process for that? So you can actually, download that content, go through those deployment guides, release notes, and what have you offline. You don't have to look at them here. But this would be the first place, besides obviously contacting support if you have some kind of break fix issue, where I would come if I was going to, look for an answer, look to the documentation first and foremost. Now, if the product documentation doesn't provide your answer, then there's also other options. Now, you'll see on the contact support page, if you're looking to actually reach out to support, I know we have roughly 67%, 2/3 of you that haven't. Just so you know how you can, again, right here off the forums page, you've got links to the, America, EMEA, and APAC support lines. You can see the hours that are published there. It's 8 to 8 Eastern for US and 7 to 6 UK, etc. And it also goes into detail down below in terms of talking about exceptions to that rule from that 8 to 8. For the majority of Ivanti customers, any kind of what's considered to be a Sev 1 issue or Severity 1 issue, the product is down, you're unable to log tickets, you're unable to perform business functions. That kind of critical severity is going to turn into a 24/7 support. So versus being, locked into 8 to 8 and having to wait till 8 o'clock the next morning to call, you do have 27 support for those critical issues where things are truly down. Now, the one thing that's kind of hidden on here that I'll point out is if you have one of those issues, you'll notice that they provide you a little link that's kind of hard to find, but it's right here. Right? So if you have an urgent issue and it's 12 a.m. in the morning, you're working in the operations center, this is the form that you need to submit in order to get that immediate turnaround and immediate support, right? And you'll notice it starts, documenting immediately when I hit here, what time I'm submitting, who I am, and everything, because SLAs and everything, of course, are going to kick in. But if you have one of those 24/7 critical issues, this link is where you need to go to get that, immediate callback versus having to wait for 24 hours or 12 hours until normal support time resumes. So anytime you have something critical, you can always use this, to have that immediate response come back. Now, you also, I'm just going to close some of these down as we keep going so I don't clutter up the screen.
While you're doing that, Kyle, we do have one question. I don't know if you want to take that or wait till later.
Sure. No, go ahead.
All right, so this question comes from Michael. Michael wants to know, how does report writing work on Cloud SM? We used to use SQL Report Builder with our own on-premise version. I don't know if that's a question you can answer or not.
With cloud, you said cloud service. I'm assuming they're meaning cloud service management. So a hosted Ivanti service management.
That's what it looks like.
Environment. Okay. And help me understand, Richard. You said the first part of that was how do they get reports, or how do they? What was the first part of that?
How does report writing work? They used to use SQL Report Builder with their own on-premise version.
Oh, okay. And it's going to work. It'll work the exact same way. Or should work the exact same way, whether cloud or on premises. The only difference being is, On premises, obviously you're hosting SQL Server and managing it, updating, installing, licensing, etc. In the cloud or hosted version, you're still using SQL reporting services to create and build those reports. If you're building those within Ivanti Service Management, keeping in mind that for all of the Ivanti products, customers always have, at a minimum, you get 2 licenses of their extraction product. Extraction being the online reporting tool and dashboard building tool, web-based, that doesn't use SQL. So the SQL reporting services that you're used to, that is the built-in reports that are in Ivanti Service Management. At the same time, extraction provides you with a library of reports and dashboards that don't rely on SQL reporting services. It's pointing at the SQL database, of course, but it's not using the SSRS reporting interface. And as I mentioned, for those that haven't used this or maybe didn't know you had it, this covers all the Ivanti products. So whether you have Ivanti Service Manager or you have security controls, user workspace, identity director, you name it, those are all covered here within extraction. And this is another easy place for users to gain access to reports, as well as build reports and dashboards with a large library, I'll say, out of the box, so that customers will frequently use this as opposed to using SQL reporting services, because SSRS requires, I'd say, it's a little bit higher bar in terms of being a little bit more understanding of database architecture, SQL statements and queries and the like, whereas extraction is going to be more geared towards the end user that's not a DBA, they're not a programmer, they just know that they need these 5 fields or these 5 columns of information, or they need this one calculated value. This is something that they can go in and build very easily, drag and drop, without all the complexity that SQL reports sometimes throws into the mix. So this is a tool I would recommend for those that maybe haven't had exposure to it before. Take a look at extraction. Again, if you own an Ivanti product, any Ivanti product, you have at least 2 licenses of extraction available to you. Now, there's also an enterprise license that opens it up for everybody. But with each Ivanti product, you get 2 licenses to be able to use this tool to create and start building reports and dashboards, not just for Ivanti, but that could even be non-Ivanti tools. Customers can use this. You can use this to build dashboards on your antivirus solutions, on your event monitoring solutions, you name it. You've got connectors for all kinds of third-party apps and ODBC and XML and LDAP connectors. So we can use this to pull in data from 20 different sources and create kind of this master dashboard where you can have one place to come and get information on patching, on security threats, on service desk tickets, on software deployments, etc. And customers will frequently use this because it makes it easy, right, for me to come in and build things like this, put it on an overhead, projector in the support area, and have, maybe multiple views simply flashing through that overhead, so that as people are walking through the support area, they have the ability to see critical information. If the phones are lighting up, or if users want to see, what kind of problems are occurring, this is a great way to have that information just flashing by in that support area. So great tool as opposed to that, but this is just in addition to the SQL reporting services that you have. But you should be able to create those reports in the same way in the cloud environment as you do on premises. Now, there's probably a little agent, a desktop SQL agent that you would install to enable you to connect. But that way you have both. You can create those SQL reports directly in service management, or you can use extraction to build those and expose those outside of service management. Now, and Rich, was there any other questions so far?
That is the only question we have in queue as of right this second. But folks, if you have a question, please, by all means, type it in there. I'll read it off to Kyle and he'll answer as many as time will allow today.
And that last question is a good one because it points to some of the additional options or the additional areas of support, we'll say, that are available to you within this same help site. So, of course, and again, this is all accessible from that help.ivanti.com. I know it's showing different URL up here, but it's going to, depending upon what links you're clicking on, that'll change. But if you just start with help.ivanti.com, you're going to see these same links that I'm looking at here, right? The forums is obviously next to maybe just raw training. This is probably my preferred method for getting an answer, getting a response. Rather than having to submit a service desk ticket, talk to another customer who's been down that path before, already had to deal with that scenario and get answers from the community versus having to wait for a support ticket to be responded to. So you can see, again, just like the documentation, they break all the form groups down by product type, product grouping. So if you have a question about Ivanti service management, maybe it's about the SQL reports, for example, right? That's when you log into the community. You see right here, it's like, what would you like to know, or what's your question, right? So I can come in and create a new question and ask a question of the community or the group, and in many cases, not just get one response, but maybe a dozen different ways that people have accomplished that same particular task. You can pick and choose what works best for you. Get different opinions as opposed to maybe just the formal opinion or the formal consensus from the documentation or from support. So this is always a great way, and you can see a lot of questions that have been asked and answered. Quite often, you're going to find somebody who's, again, already done it before. They've seen that error. They've asked that question on how to create that report or how do I do this and that. And so this is, again, a great way to get a quick answer, and not just one, but maybe dozens of answers that you can pick and choose to decide which solution is going to work best within your environment. So I definitely, and as you'll notice, this site does require registration. So I'm logged in here. So this is not wide open to the general public like the docs are. But with your user account, you easily just log in here. And that way you can even go through and click on your favorite articles and things like that. As you're going through and reading things, flag them so that if those updates, or if somebody maybe looking at an article that somebody's asked a question, but there's not an answer for it yet. Well, you don't want to come back here and check it every day to see if there's an answer. Just follow that article, click the little link, and that way, as soon as somebody posts an answer, you're going to get an email letting you know, hey, there's been a response to a question to be reviewed. So, good place to come to get answers. Great place to come if you want to have some input, which customers frequently do. You've got suggestions. You could improve this. Maybe it's something about reporting. Maybe you need would like the reporting to be easier to understand or easier to build. This is where you can go in and actually have input. Again, this requires your customer login. So of course they know that you're indeed a customer, and so they take your suggestion. But you'll see there's all kinds of ideas submitted already. So if there's not one already created, you can create one. If there's already an enhancement request that's out there, right, then I can come in and review it. If it's great, if I say, hey, yeah, you know what, this is exactly what I need to, you'll notice here I can vote for it. Run up that number. Now you can see you can only do it once, right? So I just voted, I'm done. But the more you come in here and vote, product management every development cycle, they spend time coming in here into the community site and they pull things out based on that vote tally. So obviously, if you got something that's got 1,000 votes, and you got something else that's got 20 votes, the one with the thousands going to get built into the product first. So I'd certainly recommend, if you want to have a voice, or you have some suggestions for future product enhancements, definitely come here, create it if it doesn't exist. If you find something that you agree with, vote it up. The more you vote things up, the faster it gets into the product, the faster you get to see those enhancements and those new features put into the tool. Now, let's scroll back here. At the same time, you also have learning opportunities. So we'll talk a little about some of the different learning opportunities. Number one is what they call advantage learning. Now, there's several different types of classes, of course, that Ivanti offers. You can click through here to see details on those. The thing I really wanted to focus on, though, is this, because there's a lot of stuff that's free. So I know that costs can be an issue. So not many customers know there's lots of free online training, right? Endpoint management. How do I deal with BitLocker, hard drive encryption, and maintaining my endpoint manager, server, and setting up password, protection for identity director and things of that nature. All free classes, right? Click on them, start taking them. Doesn't require, this doesn't even require any login to this point. So anybody can hit this site and start taking classes if they felt like it. So I'd certainly recommend that you take a look at that. In the same vein, of course, Flycast partners, just like we're doing today, we host these webinars every week, sometimes twice a week, and have been doing so for years and years. We have a long list of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. You want to learn how to, implement and use endpoint manager. You want to know what the latest features are in the latest version of service management or endpoint management. Usually once a quarter or at least twice a year, we have a what's new with Ivanti, service management webinar, where we focus on what's been added. Here's the new enhancements, the new UI, here's some new reports and those things. So that's another great way, as opposed to having to dig through the README and the what's new documentation. But there's videos through here on all kinds of topics, from how to set it up to best practice information. Looking at ITIL and best way to roll out problem management or implementing a CMDB according to best practice. So definitely look to YouTube. There's obviously more than just Flycast. In terms of Ivanti videos, so you can look at those as well. But I would certainly subscribe to our video channel, and that way you easily find a webinar that we've done in the past, or something we may be putting on next week that you might be interested in. And those frequently can give you the walkthroughs and the information that you want or you need to be able to get your answers. That's in addition to the complimentary training from Ivanti. And then last but not least, of course, coming back to Flycast, is the ways in which employees like myself or engineers like myself can help answer questions on calls, whether it be on a webinar like today or getting on the phone with a sales manager one-on-one. You have some specifics going through those, but also through our professional services group. You may have used professional services to help you get implemented in the past. Maybe you've self-implemented. So note that not only we do the implementation services, but of course we can offer training as well. So all of our consultants are Ivanti certified, ITIL certified. So whether it's helping you design a process, it may not even be Ivanti product related. You may be just trying to better your incident management process or help set up a change management approval process. We can help you just do design work, regardless of the tool you're using. But really, the one thing I wanted to point out in terms of service resources is going to be what Rich mentioned, which is what we call our remote administration services. And this is good because, number one, sometimes you don't need a consultant. And I say that because consultants, again, typically those are the individuals that are assisting you where you say, hey, we're rolling out the software and we don't know, we've never done this before, or we did it before and it didn't work out so well and we want to take a different path. So we want you to help tell us, how do we need to do that? How's the best way to accomplish our goals? That would be your consultant. But then your remote admin services, this is more staff augmentation, meaning that it may not be something incredibly difficult or technically complex. It may just be a matter that you've got 10 other day jobs going on, and you've got all these requests stacking up from users saying, hey, can you change this field, and can you make this pink, and can you add this and move this a little to the left? And those things start to build up. Or can you create this report or dashboard? RAS service is a great way that our customers can just buy a bucket of hours. And these, because we're not leveraging a consultant, and I'll explain that just a little bit more in a second, you're going to pay less for remote admin services. Because your remote administration services, these are not the individuals that are going to tell you how you should do something or what that best practice is. These are people that are highly skilled administrators that are looking for you to say, hey, I need this dashboard. I want this metric. I want it to look like this. I need this form built. I want this, self-service portal designed, whatever it may be. And I either don't have time, I don't have the resources, and I just need it done. So RAS service is a great way. You just have a bucket of hours. You call up, you say, I need somebody for an hour this Friday to build me a new dashboard. They simply log in, build it, log out, and you got your dashboard built, or you got your new workflow built. So for those that haven't used or haven't heard of RAS services, that's also a great way to get assistance where you're not paying consulting level fees, where you're simply saying, hey, we know what we need done. We know what we want. We want this field added. We want this and this done. We just need somebody to go in and push the buttons and pull the levers. So RAS services is a great way without having to engage, in a full consulting engagement, where you can just call up from time to time and say, hey, I'm busy. I need you to come in and fix this, or I need you to come in and build this for me, and let me know when you're done. So we have a lot of customers that take advantage of those RAS services. So that's always another option. If you've gone through the support site, you've gone through all the docs and all the training and everything else, and still need some help, or you just don't have the time, remote administration services is one way to go. And then last but not least, if that doesn't work, then we've got an engineer named Bobby McCullough, and I'll post his private email and cell phone number on this meeting at the end, so you can just call him direct and he'll handle everything for you.
I'm sure he will love that. So with that, I do have, Aram, you were saying it would be nice to have Internet of Things device management. We do offer that, actually. We have solutions for that. So if you want some additional information on that, reach out to us. We were happy to help you with that. We have a couple different things that can help out with that.
Absolutely. But unless there's any questions, that kind of completes the material I wanted to cover. But if we have any questions or anybody has any more information they're looking for, please let me know.
Very good. Thank you so much, Kyle. And folks, if you have additional questions, go ahead and send those to us. We're more than happy to get them answered. You can call us at 844-FLYCAST. It's 844-359-2278. You can chat with us live on our website. As you can see, Kyle's showing our website right now. In the right-hand corner there, you'll see a little bubble. Just click on the bubble. They're standing by for you. They're happy to chat with you. You can use our contact form. They'll chat with you from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. We also were happy to take emails at info@flycastpartners.com. So with that being said, I want to thank all of you for your time today. And I want to especially thank Kyle for going into this. It's the first time we've ever done this. And I know we've had a lot of people that have asked questions about this particular topic. And it's important because you have the tools, but sometimes you just don't have the nowhere to go to get the information to use the tools, or need a little extra help. And we can help out with that. So keep us in mind for that. With that being said, I'm going to wish all of you to be safe out there until our next webcast, and we'll see you next time around.
Thanks, everybody.